I haven't quite figured out the whole like power issue with this thing, but I just got it. So you may not make it through the entire round, but so I'll just have to read you really fast. So those 35 minutes,
Okay.
we fit into them. All right. So this is a delightful matchup between Penn and UVA. So I got Sujeev, I got Dallas, I got Eric, and I got Patrick. And then I have Matt, Evan, Tommy, and awesome. Toss-up one. One character in this novel remembers being lowered by her father Bartolome into a mine shaft as a child to search for gold, only to find a skeleton instead. Another of this novel's characters, a notorious killer and rapist, dies while riding his horse-stick Compla, causing his father to bribe Father Renteria to absolve him. The narrator of this novel is taken in by Donis, a man in an incestuous relationship with his sister, before learning from Dorothea about the main character's love for Susanna San Juan. The main character of this novel... That's right. This man's paper recursive functions of symbolic expressions and their computation by machine provided the initial outline for the Lisp language for teach and by this Turing award-winning computing scientist who led his name to a recursive algorithm where n equals n minus 10 for values over 100. His namesake 91 function. It's John McCarthy. McCarthy coined this term for a class of algorithms and techniques, so-called strong forms of it, which result in machines that match or receive human abilities.
AI.
This technique is used in many AI search algorithms, and differs from a best first search in that it only considers the best single step from the current position when making a decision. This type of greedy technique is bad at dealing with plateaus and ridges. Yes.
Nice.
20. Toss 2. The acetate salt of this element can help catalyze asymmetric Mannich reactions, while the tosylate of this element can catalyze homocoupling of Grignard reagents. Its oxide is often used as the catalyst in the Wolff rearrangement. Sudali developed catalytic versions of the Prevost reactions and its Woodward modification in order to minimize its use. The carbonate of this element can convert the most reactive hydroxyl compound to a carbonyl, a reaction known as the Fedazon oxidation. Alkyl compounds containing it can be prepared by reacting alkyliad compounds with this element's nitrate, though compounds of this element are generally less thermally stable than other corresponding copper compounds. Its oxidation state in its trifluoromethyl cation is +3, a departure from its usual +1 oxidation state, seen in compounds such as its insoluble chloride. What's named this element that precipitates in the presence of an aldehyde in the tolerance.
So, nice.
Bonus for you. Henry Clay narrowly avoided losing his seat in the House because of the scandal, saving himself by delivering a speech in which he compared himself to a trusty rifle that misfired once for 10 points each. He named the scandal that caused a massive turnover in the U.S. House in the 1816 midterm elections because voters were outraged a certain type of bill had been passed.
16.
Answer? This is the compensation scandal, the Compensation Act scandal. The infamous Compensation Act, which gave members of Congress a 40% raise, was introduced by this Kentuckian who would later be vice president under Martin Van Buren.
So, Johnson. Sure, Johnson.
Prompt.
Oh, what's his name? Richard? Richard.
Yeah. This other Kentuckian and noted member of the Kitchen Cabinet owned several newspapers such as the Argus and the Washington Globe, which he turned into heavily biased mouthpieces for the Democratic Party.
What
do you got? Yes. 20 points. Toss of 3. It's not in Britain that this major city was home to the unsolved 1947 Babes in the Wood murder, where the skeleton remains of 2 young boys are found in a large public park near the city's west end. Iona and Mitchell Islands are found south of this city, while this city's airport is located on Sea Island. Most parts of this city have a view of the North Shore Mountains. The Burrard Inlet can be seen from the city's downtown as well.
Vancouver?
Yes!
Good job, Patrick.
Here's your bonus. This man goes on a quest to find Phoebe, a slave who was sold after discovering his affair with Annabelle Trice. For 9 points each, name this character whose decision to free his slaves and become an abolitionist. Some puzzles Jack Burton. Who makes a history dissertation about him.
Castmaster.
Yes, Jack Burton remembers Castmaster while searching for dirt on Judge Irwin in this novel by Robert Finn Warren about the rise and fall of Governor Willie Stark. To resolve civil frays threat of a paternity suit, Willie Stark is forced to give Gunny Larson the contract to build this structure. Adam Stanton initially hopes to become its director, but he later assassinates Willie Stark.
The hospital people, so like the hospital?
30.
Thanks.
Toss-up. One cause of this event was an incident where a hijacked bus was crashed through the gates of the Peruvian embassy, which was then overrun by a crowd of 10,000 people. Some participants in this event were harassed in their repudiation meetings, while others had their legal status determined by the case Garcia near Nice. Some participants in this event staged a riot at Fort Chaffee, Arkansas.
Ariel Little. I hope that you got the catalyst.
This capital city of King Gradlong was protected by a giant bronze gate for number teaching. The city that was destroyed when the devil, disguised as a knight in red, convinced Gradlong's iniquitous daughter Tahat to steal the key and open the gate.
Where are we? Baghdad.
East. Like East, a watery demise befell Kentref Waylod, whose lord Gwydno Garanhir sent his son Elfin to a salmon weir, where Elfin found this figure. What do you got?
Taliesin.
That's right. In Greek myth, this legendary island located beyond the Pillars of Hercules was removed by Atlas until the gods sank it into the ocean.
Yeah, right. Atlantis.
20. Next toss. In a 1973 paper, Donald Davidson argued that radical interpretation requires that one simultaneously provide a theory of meaning and a theory of this concept. Quine wrote a 1956 paper in which he examined the case of a citizen named Ralph and a maker named Bernard J. Orcutt as a way of explaining how quantification works over contexts relevant to these concepts. That paper is widely held to have originated the de re de dicto distinction between the two types of this concept. Saul Kripke postulated the existence of a bilingual Frenchman named Pierre who utters the sentences Londres est jolie and London is not pretty, but does not know that Londres is London in order to illustrate a puzzle concerning this concept. That's right. Good job. Puzzle concerning belief.
Yep.
For 10 points each, answer the following about the anthropology of South America. While searching for the lost city of Vilcabamba, Hiram Bingham discovered this Inca site whose ruins include the Temple of the Sun. Many scholars now believe it served as a retreat for Pachacuti. Jacques Rousseau's ethnography emphasized the erotic life of this Amazon River culture in contrast to Napoleon Chagnon, who wrote a book calling them the fierce people.
That is correct.
Yeah, just man on help, bro.
Sorry about that, dude.
No problem.
This Colombian anthropologist wrote about acts of terror in rubber plantations on the Putumayo River in his book Shamanism, Colonialism, and the Wild Man. He used the Puna people as the basis for his 1983 book Mimesis and Alterity.
No, it's not happening. No, it's not happening.
What do you got?
Nothing.
Michael Tossing. Toss of 6. In a prologue to one of his plays, this author claimed to be weary of his long-loved mistress Rhyme and called himself Betwixt Two Ages Cast, the first of this, the hindmost of the last. One of this author's plays includes a monologue which begins, "When I consider life, 'tis all a cheat, yet food with hope men favor the deceit." This author was parodied as Bayes in George Villiers' comedy The Rehearsal. One of his plays begins with Doralice singing, "Why should a foolish marriage vow?" and it includes a subplot about Rhodophil and Palamide, who pursue each other's wives. The title character of one of his tragedies is nearly poisoned by Nourmahal before reuniting with his lover Indamora. In another of his plays, Hermogenes reveals that Leonidas is the rightful...
Trident. Already dead.
A lot of O-rings. Here's your bonus. Members of this religion added the suffix ODY, OD, to their names, and the goal of this faith was to become the next level, which required abandoning all ties to Earth. For each named this New Age religion, whose followers left Earth via a spacecraft trailing comet Hale-Bopp after they committed mass suicide in 1987.
Heaven's Gate.
Heaven's Gate was founded by this man who had a religious awakening following a near-death experience in the early 1970s.
It's like him and his wife.
What do you got?
Haley.
Michael Applewhite. Applewhite believed that he was one of the 2 witnesses mentioned in chapter 11 of the Book of Revelation, which more famously predicts this event. After this event, the kingdom of God will be proclaimed on earth, and the Ark of the Covenant will appear in the temple. It is preceded by several similar events whose purpose is to warn sinners to repent.
You sure?
Or it could be the blowing of the trumpet.
What do you got?
Opening of the seventh seal.
No, it's a trumpet.
Alright.
You got 10 points.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well.
Next topic. Oscar Peterson loved this artist's recording of Body and Soul, which heavily quotes In the Hall of the Mountain King. This artist first gained popular success by composing a song about a buzzard which tries to throw a monkey off its back, straighten up and fly right. He included his versions of It's Only a Paper Moon and Sweet Lorraine on his 1957 album After Midnight, and formed a pioneering trio along with Johnny Miller on bass and Oscar Moore on guitar. This musician brought in so much money that the Capitol Records building was nicknamed the house that he built. In 1956, he became the first African-American to host a network variety show, thanks to his chart-topping recordings of such songs as Mona Lisa and Unforgettable. Penn named this baritone a jazz pianist who became a popular singer known for his iconic version of Chestnuts Roasting on an Open Fire.
Cole.
10 points.
Oh, good.
Wow.
That was pretty bad.
Here's your bonus. When drawing reaction mechanisms involving them, a convention is to use a fishhook arrow to represent the movement of a single electron for 10 points each. Meaning these chemical species often generated by photolysis that have unpaired electrons.
Right.
This piperidiene derivative discovered by Lebedev and Kazarnowski is a stable radical protected sterically by 4 methyl groups. It can be used as a catalyst in mild oxidation reactions, such as the oxidation of alcohols to carbonyls.
This rat. Wow.
What do you got?
A tempo.
Yeah.
Sweet.
A radical of this benzene derivative is an intermediate in and lends its name to an industrial process that converts benzene, propylene, and atmospheric oxygen to phenol and acetone.
So, humine.
Yes.
Toss-up 8. This nation's Tiwi Island is home to an isolate language with no known relatives. The Mingi and Garawan language families are found in this nation. R.M.W. Dixon is a heterodox linguist with controversial views on this nation's languages. Many languages in this nation have only 3 consonants, A, I, and U, maybe vowels, I don't know, suggesting that they were once part of a massive Sprachbund. This nation is home to Walpiri, a highly complex sign language. Many languages in this nation have special versions that can be only used in front of certain relatives, called mother-in-law languages. Most languages in this nation can be classified in the Pamanyungan family, which was spoken by natives in all but its far northern regions. This nation's dialect of English often replaces L with W, such as in milk instead of milk, and is now its dominant language for 10 points in its Commonwealth nation that includes the Torres Strait Islands and that's 5 over here.
It's me.
Yeah.
Australia.
Good bus.
Yeah, there we go. For 10 points each, answer the following regarding British novels about the sea. The title character of this Joseph Conrad novel sails to Patusan after becoming obsessed with jailed over the Sea of the Patna.
Over 2.
This naval officer during the Napoleonic Wars wrote a series of adventure novels about the sea, including Mr. Midshipman Easy. Later in life, he started writing children's books such as The Children of the New Forest.
Sure. Forster.
It's Frederick Marryat.
Alright.
In this novel by Richard Hughes, the 5 Bosthorn children sail for England on the Clarinda, only to be captured by pirates. It focuses on Emily, a 10-year-old girl who ends up murdering the pirate captain.
A high-winded Jamaica.
I don't actually know that, I'm sorry.
High-winded Jamaica.
That's right.
Good.
No Robert Hughes novel. I'm impressed. Here's your bonus. Toss-up for everybody, I guess. This substance is the major toxin involved in scombroid poisoning. Tritoquinone is an atypical antagonist of this compound that targets the enzyme involved in its formation. 4G protein-coupled receptors are known for it in humans. Its degradation primarily proceeds through either amine oxidase or its namesake N-methyltransferase. Other alkaloids can displace it in granules, causing its release. Excreted by enterochromaffin-like cells.
Serotonin.
That's not right.
Oh,
Enterochromaffin-like cells and by mast cells that is produced by the decarboxylation of an amino acid within the imidazole side chain. For 10 points, what is the substance inhibited by ranitidine and diphenhydramine that provokes an inflammatory response?
Histamine.
That's right.
Good job. That was 2.
Like,
Here is a toss-up, bonus. This king obtained an annulment from Pope Alexander VI after accusing his first wife Joan of being horribly deformed and incapable of consummating their marriage. He named King of France, nicknamed Father of the People, and father-in-law of Francis I, who continued the wars of Charles VIII in Italy.
Louis XII, Louis XII?
He earned his nickname after he lowered this notorious land tax, which centuries later would help exacerbate tensions leading to the French Revolution.
Is it? No, it's not. Do you say it's a tie? Or the tie?
Tie. Yeah.
Perfect.
Other French taxes include this unpopular salt tax imposed by Philip IV. Yes.
Woo!
That gives you 30 points. Okay, toss up 10. And then we'll have a score check. During this military campaign, Count Largo signaled his refusal to surrender by climbing a tower and throwing a set of keys into the ocean. He would later die from being slowly sawed in half. During this campaign, the Hill of Minerva was allegedly the scene of a massacre. Civilian resistance to this invasion was led by a tailor named Antonio Grimaldi, who along with his followers will be canonized by the Catholic Church in May of 2013 as the 800 martyrs of this campaign. Duke Alfonso of Aragon led the resistance to this invasion, assisted by forces sent by Matthias Corvinus of Hungary. Giovanni Mocenigo had pledged the neutrality of Venice in this campaign in exchange for trade concessions in the Levant, giving the attackers naval supremacy. A major reason for the failure of this campaign was the threat posed by Prince Sem, who attempted to seize the throne with European assistance when the ruler who ordered this invasion died. Pinpoints named this attempt by Mehmet the Conqueror to occupy a certain boot-shaped peninsula.
The Ottoman invasion of Italy.
That's
Didn't know that happened.
and now you do.
I like it, Evan.
In one of this director's films, Mercedes McCambridge plays Emma, who chases the lead female through the Arizona desert for 10 points each. Named this director of Johnny Guitar. He's best known for a 1955 film, partially set at the Griffith Observatory.
Right.
The script of this aforementioned Ray film was based on a case study by a criminal psychopath by Dr. Robert Lindner. Sal Mineo plays Plato in this film, while the title character is played by James Dean.
Rebel Democrats.
Ray's mainstream directorial career ended after he suffered a heart attack making a Charleston Heston film titled For 55 Days in This Nation's Capital. A director from this country won the 1983 Palme d'Or for Farewell My Concubine, and his most recent foreign language film Oscar contribution was the Christian Bale vehicle, The Flowers of War. 30.
Good job, time.
So at the half, the score is 190 to 135.
Okay.
Very good. Toss at 11. This entity and her seer are the great-grandfathers of a person whose crow-given quest for the rich Don and Don has unknown result. This being's grandchildren, like Lazybones, Fatty, Strongbeard, and Prettyface, were born to Thier, Snore, and Erna, his daughters-in-law, the last of whom bore the namesake father of the aforementioned Connerly Donger.
I know.
Yeah.
Once again.
Once again.
Sorry.
The pressure drop across a flow is given by this quantity times the streamwise aspect ratio times the kinetic energy density, which is half the density times the mean flow speed squared, 10 points each. Name this quantity, which is thus the constant of proportionality in the Darcy-Weisbach equation. It can be read off a Moody chart.
What's it? Maybe it's the mu, like coefficient friction.
It's not that.
No, it's called the friction factor, but it's not the coefficient of friction. So
Okay.
those are different things.
Okay, that's fine.
Of course, the friction factor mainly depends on this dimensionless ratio, which is the ordinate of the Moody chart. For laminar flow, the friction factor is 64 divided by this quantity.
Alright, what do you want? Like, Reynolds? Let's just go Reynolds number.
Yeah. For turbulent flow, this parameter is important in determining the friction factor. Denoted epsilon, it appears in a non-dimensionalized form as a parameter in the Moody chart in Colbert equation. It determines the friction factor for very high Reynolds numbers.
Could this be?
What do you got?
The water parameter.
It's the roughness.
Roughness.
Yep.
Sense, I guess.
Excuse me, toss 12. Alfred Schnittke's cantata about this character ends with a wild tango accompanying his death in the movement Es Geschach. This character is the namesake of the second movement of Charles Alkan's piano sonata, The Four Ages.
Faust. Quasi-Faust. Thank you. Sorry.
That's a good question.
Okay. This work was part of a series designed for the Alabaster Chambers in a castle owned by the Duke of Ferrara for 10 points each. Identify this Titian painting where the sail of a small boat can be seen in the distance off the coast of Naxos. One of the title figures wears a blue robe and blue and red robe and stands in contrapostal pose next to two leopards.
Bacchus and Ariadne.
Bacchus and Ariadne was originally titled after this mythological figure who steps towards the disembodied animal head in the composition. In ancient sculpture, this figure sees him surrounded by his two sons, with all three figures fighting snakes.
Laocoon.
This Venetian contemporary of Titian painted a weird Annunciation, where an angel bursts through the door holding a gigantic lily. The title figure clasped a statuette of Diana in this artist's portrait of Andrea Lily.
I was gonna guess Lotto, maybe. Lotto?
It's a good guess.
Is it right?
Yeah. Woo! That's why it's a good guess.
I did that tower.
That's the right answer. Here's toss-up 13. Late in life, this man represented the South London neighbourhood of Lambeth in Parliament. In one campaign, this man's life was saved by his Irish doctor, Thomas Park. Several decades after this man was briefly imprisoned in Fort Douglas, he crossed the Tari Forest during a campaign to rescue the governor of Equatoria, Emin Pasha. This man, who was nicknamed Bula Matari.
Stanley.
That's right.
Good job. Yes. That was a good resolution project case. Good job. Good job.
Much better answer.
Yes.
Bonus for you. This character describes how he raped the young girl Matryoshka out of self-loathing and warned him in a chapter about his confession to Bishop Knuthorn. Again, we're teaching this character who does not prevent the criminal Fedka from murdering his crippled wife Maria and his brother-in-law Captain Libyatkin. He was tutored by Stepan Verkhovensky as a child and was later recruited by Stepan's son Peter to become the figurehead for a group of radicals. Suburban commits suicide at the end of this novel by Fyodor Dostoevsky about the destruction caused by the title Revolutionary Conspirators. In the book 3 of The Possessed, this revolutionary develops religious faith and tries to leave the group for which he's murdered. The nihilist Kirillov agrees to take a note of response, society note of response. Yeah, good job.
Nice job, Tom.
30. Okay. Toss 14. Non-straight field lines give rise to a form of this phenomenon that is given in SI units by the quantity B dot grad B over mu, where B is the magnetic field and mu is the permeability. That magnetic form of this phenomenon appears with the magnetic pressure in the standard MHD decomposition of the Lorentz force and provides the restoring force for alpha waves. Another form of this phenomenon can balance the pressure difference, resulting in a geometry such that the pressure difference is proportional to the sum of the radii of the curvature according to the Young-Laplace equation. That form of this phenomenon is...
Service tension?
Yeah.
I should have left that. Taking the shot.
Here's your bonus. This rebellion began with an incident called the Bloody Porpoise, in which the Count of Santa Coloma was killed by a mob on the feast of Corpus Christi. In the 1640 to 59 rebellion in Spain, led by the namesake group of agricultural workers. But yeah. It's the War of the Reapers. The Reapers' War established a short-lived republic in this northeastern region of Spain, which has its own Romance dialect and distinct culture. Yeah. The War of the Reapers was a rebellion against this Habsburg king, whose government was dominated by the Count Duke of Olivares. He led Spain in the 30 Years' War. Answer?
Phil.
Prompt.
Second.
4. 10 points. Toss 15. On the right-hand side of this painting, 2 angels hold rods that support a white and gold canopy, near which another angel blows on horns. On the bottom of this painting, a figure blows a conch shell into the gray beard of a sea deity, while one of the 3 fleshy nude women grasps a rope and a pier. The title figure in this work is greeted by a man in a helmet.
The disembarkation of Marseille.
Yeah.
Marie Medici.
It's really good. We got some questions over there coming out for shit. Here's your bonus. In this work's first appendix asks, why anything, why this, and develops what his author calls the triple theory, which holds that an act is wrong just when such acts are disallowed by some principle that is optimific, uniquely universally willable, and not reasonably retractable. For 10 points each, identify this 2-volume work of moral philosophy by Derek Parfit.
Reasons and persons.
No, it's on what matters. Parfit is a notable adherent of this view, according to which statements of moral obligations are statements of fact akin to a report of natural fact. A stronger version of this thesis holds that moral entities objectively exist.
Moral realism?
Yes. Parfit's triple theories attempt to combine consequentialism and contractualism with the philosophy of this deontologist, whose categorical imperative advocates should be plus ends rather than means.
Cons.
That's right. Another Derek Parfit work for you to know, but there are only 2.
Okay.
I've only written 2 books ever.
Fair enough.
Here's top. So 32155.
Yeah,
Yeah.
All right, how many topics left?
5 topics. One of this author's poems compares the sky to the black lid of a vast cauldron which is slowly boiling all of humanity. The speaker of another of this author's poems compares the soul to a ship without a mast on a monstrous borderless sea after encountering a sinister number of identical hobbled men. This author exclaimed, "Andromache, I think of you."
Butler.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Bonus. Durum wheat is an example of this condition, and it was intentionally induced in triticale to overcome hybrid sterility for 10 points each. Name this the condition of having more than 2 complete sets of homologous chromosomes.
That's much better.
Yes. This relationship among plants of genus Brassica was described by a Korean Japanese botanist. In this arrangement, 3 central diploid species intercombine to produce 3 different tetraploid species.
Korean Japanese.
What do you got?
Okazaki too.
The triangle view.
That's right. This substance can be used to induce polyploidy by inhibiting microtubule polymerization. Originally derived from the autumn crocus, this tricyclic molecule is often used as a gout treatment.
Oh no, David.
We'll take our some sort of iodine containing
We don't
substance.
Iodine.
That's colchicine. You receive 10 points on the bonus.
Alright.
Why are you yelling for David?
Oh, because he likes gout.
It doesn't matter. Here's toss of 17. It's not Hungary, but one theologian from this country took the Latin name Johannes Corvinus. Simon Episcopus led a reformist faction in this country called the Remonstrants. This nation-state church was deeply influenced by the conservative theologian Franciscus Gomarus. A 1632 document written in this country superseded the earlier Schleitheim Confession and contains 18 articles, including 2 that endorse ecclesiastical bans and apostates and the shunning of the wicked. A synod held in this country discussed the quintiquarticular controversy and saw a theologian from this nation condemned for
Really?
5.
Netherlands.
The Dordrecht Convention.
Come on, you.
Dordrecht.
You gotta figure
It
these
sounds
things
so
out.
Dutch. Why didn't you say it?
I don't know.
So 10 points for
I actually love it.
that. Here's a bonus. For 10 points each, answer the following about U.S. gubernatorial elections in 2013. At New Jersey, this female state senator is the most likely Democratic nominee to run against Republican Chris Christie.
I don't know. This is another David thing.
What do you got?
Nothing.
Barbara Buono. In Virginia, this current attorney
Thank you,
general,
Janelle.
yeah, Cuccinello will be running against Democrat Terry McAuliffe, who is most famous for previously holding this position. This post is currently held by W. Walter Schultz.
Yeah, DNC chair.
Yeah.
My boss.
Your boss.
Yeah, I'm working for him. So
Is that right?
yeah.
I assume, is it related to Jacob Wasserman?
No,
No?
I don't think so. Oh no, I meant Terry McAuliffe actually.
No, I mean, yeah,
Oh,
David Wasserman Schultz.
I wouldn't ask him that. I don't think he is.
I was just assumed for some reason. Anyway, toss up 18. One story says that news of this man's most famous accomplishment was initially misinterpreted as being about the death of a chicken. One of this man's campaigns was sparked when his rival Cyrus assaulted him during negotiations and was inadvertently aided by the conspiracy of Olympias. During his invasion of Greece, this commander wiped out the last remnants of the Eleusinian mysteries. This man is considered the first ruler from the Balti dynasty. This man was originally buried under the